Who is it?
Goons!
Who?
Hired goons!
Hired goons.
Welcome home, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. And today, we are done with Sonic and Tails and their big dumb vacation for wizards.
Not much of a vacation, really.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a vacation.
It wasn't exactly scenic, was it?
No, it was, they were kind of going to shitholes.
Well, we have left shitholes behind and returned to knotholes, with Sonic the Hedgehog number 68 here.
It's Sonic's birthday.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Is
Spazion's gift for him was messy art.
Of course.
It is a little messy. It's not bad, though.
No, it's not that bad. The background's a little weird, but it always
Yeah.
is.
Well, the story for this one is called Surprise, written by Ballers and drawn by Butler. On Sonic's 16th birthday, Sonic, Tails, and Nate return to Mobotropolis incognito, only to find the kingdom preparing for someone's return anyway. After the mysterious satellite launches a series of meteors at the city, Sonic's cover is blown. So yes, we are back in, not Knothole, I suppose, but Mobotropolis. They do show
Right.
Knothole at the start, which, they show the weird time distortion that just looks like the forest is on fire.
That's what that
It
is,
does look
okay.
like that. How does that work with the trees? That doesn't
Oh.
make any sense. I thought it was like a barrier that nothing could pass through.
Huh, that's a good point.
Yeah, it doesn't, the Knothole 3 hours thing, it doesn't make any sense, and it's dumb.
I thought about it a little bit. Yeah, it screws with your head a little bit. What also screws with my head is the fact that apparently it's only been a few weeks since Robotnik was defeated, which I don't buy.
No, I thought
Yeah.
they literally did leave for a year in-universe as well as out, but no.
Yeah. It doesn't feel very realistic that they were able to, travel around as much as they did in just a few weeks.
What's also weirder that everybody was like, oh, I miss Sonic, I wish Sonic was still here. He was gone for less than a month?
Yeah, if he was only gone for like 2 or 3 weeks, it's like, guys, it hasn't even been that long. I mean, there are people I haven't seen in months and years that I don't even feel that way about.
Well, that's because you're a callous dick. No, I'm kidding.
Well, that's true. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Anywho, yeah, so Sonic, Tails, and Nate returning incognito in these weird robes? I don't know where they got those.
Ah, yes, incognito, dressed completely differently to everyone else with your faces hanging out.
Yeah, I always wondered. Well, these are red robes. Yeah, no, very good.
Well, the weird thing, I suppose, is that they have Nate in disguise because they don't want him to be recognized because, that could actually cause issues because he's been
Right.
blamed for a lot of bad things. But that doesn't explain why Sonic and Tails are in disguise, though.
I would assume they don't want to, like, raise any, raise any alarm that they're back.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think they want to sneak in with Nate because otherwise they'll be like, "Hey, Sonic, Tails, who's the hooded person with you?"
True.
I suppose, but they also assume that the festivities are a return party for them, so... Anyway,
True.
so... Satellite has been our main villain for a while here, and they really do say space the final frontier as it's activating.
Yep.
It's gonna throw some meteors at them.
Gonna cause some chaos.
But beforehand, we get to see the... I don't know what to call this group, the Goon Squad, I suppose, of all these minor villains and Snively.
Minor villains, I only remember, like, 2 of them. Or 3 of them.
Well, so it's Drago, Sleuth, and
Right.
the Mogul minions.
And
Oh!
Snively, don't forget about Snively.
Also, Knack is there.
Yeah, Knack is also there.
Oh, I always forget that he's considered part of this group because he hangs out with other people. And yeah,
But,
no, I
like-
wasn't forgetting Snively. It's just we all know Snively. So.
Right, but, like, this red hedgehog?
No, that is Lightning Lynx. He just is drawn like a hedgehog in that panel for some reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm glad this gang hasn't completely been forgotten about because they're really taking their time with this subplot for some reason.
I guess they're trying to show that they're actually trying to come up with a sensible plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that on their arguing table, they have the crystallized Kodos and Arachnus just on the table like a decorative fruit bowl.
What are you supposed to do with them?
That's a good question.
Have them randomly not be crystal anymore, I suppose.
Yep, that sure is a thing you could do with them.
Is it because they beat Naugus? Because I don't know why it would have waited multiple days for that to... I don't know.
I thought like the meteor storm awakened them or something. I don't know.
Sure, let's say it was that. Anywho, so we finally get to see that, like, all the freedom fighters are here, finally. We've got Rotor, Sally, Bunny, Antoine, and even Amy is making an appearance. And, they get a call... They get a call on Nicole from the king, I suppose?
Looks like it.
And he's like, oh, you know, someone special has finally returned to us. And they're like, yeah, that's gotta be Sonic. But what they need to remember is that King Acorn is kind of a jerk who doesn't like Sonic. So they should have figured that he was not talking about Sonic.
Yeah, when I first read this, I was like, that doesn't seem like King Max. Why is he so excited?
Yeah.
I should have known why.
Although this is a Baller's issue, so he's not as much of a psychopath, but... They don't get to see who it actually is, though, because they have to deal with falling meteors first.
Yep, gotta have some
Yeah.
action. There's our action.
Yeah, that's our action, Paul.
Yeah.
I do find it a little weird that these satellites can launch meteors.
These satellites can do everything. They're
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, I guess, it's plot device bullshit, but it's still weird.
Yeah,
No, it's very strange.
well, it does lead to probably the only entrance that Sonic really could make, is that he makes his proper return doing what he does best, saving people from danger. And I want to call attention to this part. The way that Sally recognizes him is not by seeing that it's Sonic, but by seeing the hooded figure and saying, a speeding figure rushing off to save helpless innocents, that could only be Sonic. Everybody else is too much of a selfish dipshit.
Yeah, no one else is willing to do that.
Uh-huh. So the freedom fighters are the only people that would be in Mobotropolis that would actually step up. Huh. The state of things.
I suppose since there's no Robians here, it's not like they have any war heroes that would have been on site.
That's true.
Which I don't know where exactly they've gone at this point, but
Well, they're supposed to be in Knothole, right?
I
Yeah,
think...
they weren't shown, but yes, that's true.
Well, it's just they kept flip-flopping back and forth on whether they were actually going to go there or not, but I guess that's where they're... I guess you can see Sonic's parents in the first page when they are at Knothole, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you just get your standard Sonic action with saving people from meteors, and it's kind of like as soon as Sonic saves Sally, the meteors are just, like, kind of gone.
Well, he saved the only important person in the city.
Oh,
Yeah, so then the meteors gave up.
Right.
they realized that they wouldn't be able to meaningfully affect the plot, so they just turned around and left. But they're back, and they're like, yeah, oh, it could only have been Sonic, and they get back, and the king's like, oh shit, hi, Sonic, I didn't expect you to be here. And you're like, what? But you were preparing for us, weren't you? He's like, no,
No.
I was preparing.
He's actually, I mean, he's not really, I mean, he is surprised to see Sonic, but he's not like, oh shoot. He's like, I don't care. Like, that's trivial compared to what we're doing right now.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, to an extent, it kind of is.
In
Well,
some
he's
sense,
so
yeah.
rude. No tact.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's very true. Also, why would the king have even known Sonic was back?
He wasn't paying attention to what was going on in the city, obviously. Those are just peasants there. And my dog.
Well, yeah, of
Well,
course.
it's the whole Sally doesn't know who else it could possibly be for.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
You assumed.
right.
Yes,
Yeah, he
but
was
he's
the
like, Sonic, that guy's nothing. The real shit is my son, Elias,
Whoa.
who looks very smug in this image.
He does look very smug, and that seems to go against the little bit of character he's already been established with.
No, Elias is not a jerk, which is
No,
good.
yeah, which is very nice. I was very expecting to just immediately hate him, but no, he's well written for this comic standards.
No, they just told him to pose. That's all.
Yeah, he was trying to give a royal pose, and he doesn't really know what that means.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like me on picture day.
if that's
Oof, that's a mood.
no, he was just following the lead of his dad, probably.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
So the one other thing is that Jeffrey, dick that he is, pulls off Nate's hood and is like, "Who is this guy? It's an assassination attempt because he's a human."
Yeah, and they're all racist against humans or speciesist, I guess.
No,
I was
it's racist.
actually shocked that the king told him to stop and that Nate was definitely a friend. I was totally expecting him to be like, Nate, you've returned to try and kill me? I thought we were friends. Like, but no,
Well, yeah,
he actually is reasonable for the only time, like, ever, practically.
I guess to be fair, Nate did put himself into exile. He wasn't sent into exile.
Yeah.
So I assume the king probably never had any ill will towards him in the first place.
Well, the
I
king
only
doesn't.
find it unreasonable because the king takes every opportunity to
True.
take things the wrong way.
Yeah, the king does not
enough.
resent him, and Jeffrey just backs down, which I do want to mention that because I do want to highlight this, that last episode, those Knuckles issues with Jeffrey in them, those were the last time that Penders ever wrote Jeffrey as a character. Every other appearance he makes is Ballers and Flynn.
Huh.
Which is good, because he's still Jeffrey, because dick that he is, it is a personality, and he's got to cling tight to whatever he has for Pender's characters' personalities. But because Penders is not writing him anymore, he can become normal, so...
Right. Okay. That's good, at least.
Huh.
Anywho, we get Sonic's birthday party, and that's the end of the story.
Ooh.
Yay.
All of Sonic's friends and family are here. He's covering up Antoine's face with his hand, and I'm not even sure Bunny is in this shot. No, you know what? Next to Antoine, you can see, like, her mouth and, like, part of her boob. But Sonic's hand is covering up both of them.
Damn, that's about right for the way they've been written recently.
Who's this kid on the...
Excuse me, not written.
Who's this kid on the left edge of the table?
Yeah,
They
don't
could've put
have
one of them
eyes
there.
covered.
Just have Antoine hanging off the edge of the table.
Yeah, he could be like a dog begging for table scraps.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, I don't have anything in particular to say about this story. It's fine. It gets the job done.
It's not a bad story. The confusion about why the celebration about someone coming back wasn't about Sonic is stupid, because why would the king know Sonic was coming back?
I think it was fine because Sally just assumed that Sonic had already shown up in
I guess
Mobotropolis.
so.
She was in Knothole, and so she was like, "Oh, a celebration for someone returning? That's got to be Sonic. Seems reasonable to me."
I guess.
Yeah, but on Sonic's end, it is a little weird, since they think that they're preparing a surprise party for them when they wouldn't know why
Right.
they would be back.
I guess,
Well,
yeah. It makes
that's just
yeah.
Sonic being Sonic. I mean, do you know this guy?
Oh, he's just being an egotist, I get it.
Fair enough.
Well, speaking of egotists, this issue has a second story, which is Survival of the Fittest, written by Penders and drawn by Maxwell. Still on their voyage home, the Wolfpack journeys through a city only to be stalked by its lone inhabitants. Prepared for a battle, they're shocked to discover the residents are two Overlander children.
I always have trouble getting invested in these split-up stories
Yeah.
about characters that I barely know.
Well, especially when nothing happens in them. They go to a place, they find two kind of creepy-looking kids, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are their names? Ariel and Athena can't talk.
My only note is I appreciate they're diving more a little bit into Overlander lore, perhaps.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it.
Well, this is like the most boring way to talk about the Overlanders.
Well, it's that we're getting into this between that and the Jeffrey being racist against Nate thing. It's like the conflict is quickly becoming one of Mobians versus Overlanders, and you can do stuff with that
Right.
considering there was a whole war about it. But this is
Yeah.
a pretty boring way to examine it. It's just
Yeah.
two kids, and they're like, oh, I guess we'll take them with us. Maybe they don't even say we'll take them with us. They just said I'll decide what to do. Ugh, Lupe, girl, you're being wasted like this. Also, all of their noses are colored white in this story for some reason.
Yeah, that's or about like halfway through they start doing that. Oh no, actually, never mind. Yeah, for most of the story they're colored white. There's a couple scenes where they're colored correctly though.
Well, after that nice bit of boring, let's have a nice healthy dose of stupid. We have Sonic Super Special number 8, which is called Zone Wars Prelude, but really everybody just knows it as Sally Moon.
They really just don't know what to do with these super specials anymore, do they?
Yeah.
We used to save these for maybe not the most pivotal story moments, but at least they were saved for events. You know, there were things that
Right.
were important about them. Now they're just like, you know, they're like trying to, maybe do a movie parody. No, anime parody, or, you know, it's just whatever.
It does. It kind of feels like the writers were mandated to have to do a super special like every other month or like every few months, and they just kind of gave up on making them important to the plot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is nicer because it's a little weird to have a super special be plot relevant, but at least that forced it to be interesting and not just complete
Right.
nonsense.
Right.
Yeah, this is a skippable one to cut things short, but I say it's skippable in that it doesn't really matter to the story. It's not skippable in that if you want to see the most bonkers shit to come out of these comics, you can't skip this one, because I mean look at this title page with the anime sailor suit Amy with the wall eyes.
Oh boy, I saw this piece of art like probably close to 15 years ago, and I always thought it was fan art.
Nope.
So it was a little jarring to see it in my super special.
It looks we made this joke before, but it looks like that one anime girl screen cap where her eyes are too big for her skull.
Yeah, it does. It also it gives the vibes of those learn to draw anime books that don't look like anime whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know if this is solely on Swazian or if it's a coloring inking problem, but it's very funny.
You know, I have a feeling just the line art version is going to look. I hate to use the word bad, but it's gonna look just as bad.
There's no saving that bulbous head.
Yeah.
When it comes to the bad art in these comics, much of it doesn't bother me, but this is just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaky. But speaking of freaky, let's get into the stories, starting with Zone Wars Prelude. Drawn by James Fry, I believe, in his first appearance. We will grow to like him as an artist, I think. But it is also written by prolific Spider-Man writer Dan Slott, who you may know for writing the original comic book version of Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
Fun fact.
And, you know, hilariously, we have James Fry drawing this, who people will remember for being kind of the one who goes overboard with anime influence in his art style, which is very fitting for his first issue, which is the one where they do wacky anime parodies. But yes, we start with Sonic getting attacked by Lady Robotnik.
So, my headcanon, until proven otherwise, which I doubt this is going to show up again, although maybe I shouldn't, is that the Luna Zone Mama Robotnik, who's we now know their maiden name is Robotina from Sonic the Hedgehog, Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog, decide to delve into magic and try to take over the world. And so this in this universe, Robotnik's mother took the reins and tried to take over Mobius.
Oh.
Quality.
Oh.
So yes, that's weird. And the Luna Zone, is that a thing from Sailor Moon, or is it the Negaverse or whatever they call it?
Oh god, I've watched Sailor Moon. I fucking love Sailor Moon. Shit, I think it is. It's been a long time since I've watched Sailor Moon. I believe the Luna Zone is.
Okay, well, it's really weird. Sonic's attacked by her, but gets saved by Sally Moon and Chibi Rose, which they could have gone for Chibi Rosa Rose or something to make it sound more like Chibi Rose.
Right.
This is already ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think we've already commented on multiple times, for that matter, actually, on Sally's tendency to be drawn like a human.
This time it's definitely on purpose, but it's
on
still
purpose.
weird.
It's very weird still.
Well, it's strange too, although in a minute she'll be joined by someone else as well.
Oh
But
yeah.
before that, like Robotina and Chibi Rose don't look that strange. You
Yeah.
know, I mean they're dressed up, but so she's kind of they just decided to draw her, like the character she's based off of much more, whereas instead of just trying to meld the designs.
Right.
I'm just realizing it's very funny that it makes sense that they would feminize Robotnik's first name, but it's weird that they would also do it for the last name.
That is a good point.
As I said,
But-
now I just say that's Mom Robotnik's maiden name, so extra lore.
But nothing that this comic could do with names is going to be weirder than the entrance of Tuxedo Nux.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So take everything I just said about Sally and just Tuxedo Nux. I think is worse because it is literally just a human man's body.
With a
It is
knuckles head.
definitely worse.
It is so much worse.
It is ridiculous, and I'm gonna like this is a debate that got started a while back. Should it be
Okay.
Tuxedo Nux or should it be Nuxido Mask?
Honestly, I think I'd rather Tuxedo Mask.
They also spell it two different ways on the same page.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh, what the heck? I hope that the fact that these two characters are here and liking each other isn't going to bring back the Sally and Knuckles subplot, because
Oh,
that
yeah.
got buried. Hopefully forever.
There's no shipping going on between the Prime Universe Sally and Knuckles. It does upset Sonic to see his anime waifu with somebody else, but
Uh,
that quickly gets interrupted by the Sideways Time Police.
yeah, they're a thing now.
All right. I mean, we already know multiverses exist, so I'm not surprised that there's some group out there trying to protect said multiverse.
Yes, it is weird though because this dude who is as of yet unnamed gives Sonic some amount of explanation about dimension travel and all that, but it makes the strange retcon that every time Sonic has traveled between universes, it's because the Zone cops let him and opened the way for him, I guess.
Right.
So, you can make lazy parodies. You can draw things horrendously, but you cannot screw with my canon like this. This is so obviously a retcon. They're not even trying. They're just like, oh, that was just because I helped you from the sidelines, Sonic. Ha.
Yeah. It gives this guy a sudden and weighted amount of importance, and that would annoy me on its own, but they do something way worse right after that, because as this dude is leaving, he says that Sonic is Sonic Prime, our favorite Netflix cartoon, but he says that our Sonic is the one true Sonic of all dimensions. No, that's so dumb.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, what makes? Because we also refer to this Mobius as Mobius Prime. What makes this the primary universe?
So, I mean, it makes sense from a fan perspective to call it that.
Right,
Because
yeah, I get that, but making that its official title
Yeah, that
within
doesn't
the
make any
multiverse,
sense.
that's
make any
so
sense.
stupid.
Well, it's giving the heroes cosmic importance, which is not what you want in, I would say, any story. You want your
Well,
heroes to be...
especially a story that involves multiverses.
Yeah. 900 years of time and space, and I've never met any person that wasn't important. But apparently the Zone cops have.
I guess. Yeah, and then to just add insult to injury, for some reason Sonic is really fed up at the end about not getting the girl, as he puts it, which is strange. It doesn't seem very Sonic-like.
You should want your Sally, if anything.
Yeah, he's all pissy about. It's stupid.
Also, I mean, from his perspective, that Sally is, his friend, but stretched out to creepy proportions.
Yeah, I don't know why he found that attractive. Apparently,
If you saw a girl that you liked, but she was stretched to be 9 feet tall, but with the same size head, you would be a little freaked out, probably.
Yeah.
At least I would. I suppose different tastes for different flakes. That doesn't really rhyme, but
Different strokes for different folks.
I didn't want to make stroking a part of it. Anyway,
Kevin.
I think someone probably was having a stroke working on this.
That's fucking true.
in either sense, let's move away from that and move on to a different brand of very weird with our second story for the issue, Running on Empty, written by Roger Brown, who I don't think has written anything else thus far and maybe never did again, and drawn by Nelson Ribeiro? Whichever. Sonic recounts to Amy the story of how he was once cursed with a hyper-accelerating, hyper-aging body by Robotnik.
This is an incredible story. Honestly, this is peak Sonic Archie comics right here.
There are things that I like about it. For one thing, Sonic and Amy are hanging out as if they're friends. Remember that they were supposed to be friends already when Amy was introduced?
That's true.
Right,
That is true.
yeah.
And I do like to see that. I enjoy seeing them just be friends.
Yeah. As for Sonic's story, it's... They say that Sonic was I said Sonic was cursed by Robotnik, but really Snively is the one doing all the work and is drawn extremely muscular.
Yes. The first time he's here, he has this wonderful face. I don't know how to describe the emotion.
Every drawing of Snively is a masterpiece in this story.
It's real weird. Yeah, he distracts Sonic with an illusion of Sally being kidnapped, which Sonic disperses by punching her in the chest, I suppose. But he zaps Sonic with a thing, and it doesn't immediately take effect, but he's like, "Ha, I'm gonna get you, death."
Snively is taking a leaf out of Robotnik's book for once, and even though he could have just shot and killed Sonic, let me just say that, he decides not to because it's more fun, I assume, to make him suffer slowly.
Actually, he suffers quickly because it makes him accelerate in both speed and age.
Oh yeah, okay,
Oh,
very
yeah.
nice, true.
So he runs into a tree because he's too fast and almost hurts people because he drags giant piles of shit along with him as he runs.
Yeah, that bit takes me back because there was some stuff of that in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog a few times, where he would like destroy stuff by running past it. So that's a bit of a throwback.
In this story, they at least present that as something that's not supposed to be happening. Sometimes in Adventures of Sonic, he would just cause chaos and nobody would care.
Well, that's the thing. It was hilarious, yeah, and weird. So yeah, at least they're acknowledging it.
You know, we've talked about Sonic having his arms miscolored blue plenty of times in this, but on page, I want to say 7 here, there are multiple times where Sonic's legs are miscolored tan, and it looks really creepy.
True masterpiece right here.
But the result of all of this is that, yeah, Sonic ages real fast, and I can't bring up Doctor Who again because I used up my one Doctor Who reference of the episode, but his old Sonic is very funny looking. He has eyebrows that go all the way down to his cheeks.
Eyebrows that turn like into mutton chops.
It's always amusing when you have a character that gets aged, and then the writers don't think too hard about what they would actually look like older, and just draw a few things like, oh, okay, they look old now.
Yeah, no, anatomically the rest of his body is the same. It's just his face.
Maybe this was part of Snively's diabolical plan.
Yeah, so they have to, go break into the base or whatever to fix him or something, but so it's a pretty laughable invasion, to be honest. It's...
Yeah, they don't do so great. What's interesting about when they break in and Robotnik shows up,
Thank God.
yeah, it's always good to see him. The Swampbuds are designed very differently in this story. I kind of like it. They look kind of clankier, almost like not as smooth, but sort of pushed together.
Yeah, they have
These
big
ones-
sort of like Mega Man arms and legs that make them, and they're spindlier. So they end up solving the oldness crisis by, I guess, just reversing the machine. But I absolutely adore this panel of Sally in tears begging Snively to shoot Sonic with the ray to put him out of his misery by super aging him.
This is one of the most fantastic conclusions for a story I've ever seen. Like, to pull that, it's just amazing on so many counts. First of all, that's just absurdly dark out of nowhere. And second of all, yes, that frame, yeah, Sally looks ridiculous. Snively looks like I did not expect this. I don't know how to react. He's just so taken aback.
I didn't consider the
he's
consequences
like,
of my
okay.
actions. This is the perfect, you crop this panel and just post it on the Sonic Out of Context Twitter account or whatever. I can think of so many people that would probably read this comic or would see this out of context and think it's legit without knowing that she's literally putting on the crocodile tears to manipulate him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they shoot Sonic, he's back to normal, and that's it.
Yay.
She says it'll put the ray in reverse, but shouldn't that mean that Sonic should be aging backwards?
Don't think about it too hard.
Listen,
Yeah, pretty much.
Sonic Generations isn't what you think.
Oh, no.
But,
Yeah, in case it wasn't obvious, this isn't actually a great story, but it is very entertaining, I
It's
think.
very entertaining.
it is really funny. And this is all a story told by Sonic to Amy, and I just think that it's hilarious that he tells her this absolutely wild story. I like to imagine that he made it up, to be honest. It would be funny if he just made it up. But, why is this a story that puts her in a romantic mood? She's like, oh, Sonic, I love your stories. This is not...
This is very much the case of he could be talking about anything, and she wouldn't care.
I mean, yeah, that's probably true.
I suppose. Yeah, very, very weird but funny story. But, as it happens, we're not done here. We have, 2 more stories. This is one of the most stories in any Sonic comic, and I think they went for quantity over quality. We have here Den of Thieves, and it's a Frank Strom story that he wrote and drew. So it is about Monkey Kong, alongside new friends Lu Feng and Lu Chi Mei, I think, raiding the hidden lake base of the Yagyu Ninja Clan.
They're just really going wild with these solo stories. I thought the Jeffrey solo story was as crazy it could get, but now Monkey Kong, crazy.
Also, man, if you didn't already know that these were all Sonic characters, I don't think anyone would have guessed that this came from a Sonic comic.
Oh no, yeah, you could take this in isolation. I don't think anyone would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, its relation to the Sonic stories is nil, and Strom's art style is just really weird.
So these ninjas, what the fuck are they?
I think they're bats, but they don't have
Okay,
wings?
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay.
Hard to sneak when you're flying? I don't know.
Well, and especially since the other two, what are their names? Lu Feng and Lu Chi Mei. I
have
think
no idea
they're
what the
supposed to
fuck
be
they
like
are.
rabbits, maybe? I don't know.
Wait, well, we already have a rabbit who looks like a rabbit.
Frank Strom.
Fair enough, I guess.
Whatever you don't get, the answer is Frank Strom.
Alright then, fair enough.
I don't have a lot to say about this. I don't enjoy Khan very much as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, this story really does kind of get a little strange based on, yeah, Khan being at the center. Not the usual. I mean, you see heroes of his type in other things, but the whole atmosphere around him bends to accommodate the fact that he's just so boastful. Because these two kids are ridiculous. They literally join him because he's like, I'm gonna go take down whatever the thing of I gotta take down. I don't know the plot.
The ninjas.
And they're the ninjas, and they're like, oh really? Ha! we're gonna watch you fail.
Yeah, it's... I mean, in fairness, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in him either. They've got a robot dragon, what is it called? The Kamezon? Which Kame means turtle, and it's kind of got a shell, but they call it a dragon.
Yeah, and they're like, the dragon is real. No, it's a robot. Okay, well, it's still gonna kill us.
Why is there a legend about a robot?
Who knows?
That's apparently been there for a while.
Who made this? We'll never know.
To be honest, I don't really care.
Yeah, they destroy
Maybe made to care, but who knows?
they destroy the tracking device, and then it just walks off. So they don't destroy the robot, they just make it so that it can't tell where they are. That seems like it would be a really dangerous thing.
It'll be fine. I'm sure. The kids are pretty sure too, because they do a complete 180 before, because after Khan wins, they're like, "Hey, why don't you come back to the village and revel in your own glory?" And he's like, "No thanks."
Yeah.
But you see, Khan did one very important thing. He got their stuff back.
I mean, that is pretty important.
Yeah, no, they're not very appreciative.
Well, let's leave Khan behind for now.
I'm fine with that.
Oh God, I was gonna say let's leave him behind for something better, and then I saw what was next. If you guys thought that Nelson Rabayo's art was weird, and if you thought that Frank Strom's art was kind of bad, you have not seen this. This is Ghost Busted, written and drawn by J. Oliveros, which is definitely a pseudonym for somebody, because nobody would want to put their name on this. This is the adaptation of the Sad AM episode Ghost Busted, where Sonic, Tails, and Antoine go camping and tell spooky stories, only for one of their stories to seemingly come to life. They call it the headless whatever. It was not a good episode of Sad AM. I don't know why they chose that one to adapt.
Headless.
That's
Gopher, I
true.
think.
Yeah, and of course it's Antoine. So
That is a weird episode to adapt of Sad AM.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I saw Monkey Con in something, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." And then Ghost Busted. No, this is they topped themselves. Unfortunately, I would have given this an award if it was this terrible art accompanied by an equally terrible story, but instead it's just a copied story, so it loses the award. I'm sorry, you get nothing.
To be fair, though,
Yeah.
we got this weird art of Tails on the cover.
the art of all of them is...
No, the art is strange.
Yeah, so the
for
art
sure.
it weirdly reminds me of like 50s and 60s anime.
like early Tezuka shit, but like not even the
Yes.
good quality Tezuka shit.
Not the good Tezuka shit like Astro Boy, like the really weird shit like it's furry porn.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen that, and it concerns me that you have, but
I've not. Okay, I guess to be fair, I don't think it's actually porn. I've only seen like a few pieces from it.
let's get off this subject.
We're
But
getting
also,
a
I don't
little
know what to
off
get on,
Yeah.
because it's the story we've already read or already seen in a better format, but it's still not a good story. It's Antoine.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's pretty much a one-to-one adaptation, but somehow they still managed to screw it up because they took out the glorious line of the ghost turning themselves into a duck. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, it's bad. I am more interested in the identity of J. Oliveros than anything else, because we are going to see this person's art again. The only things that they ever lent their name to were rushed adaptations of Sad AM episodes, because they didn't have a plot. People speculate that J. Oliveros, the writer of this, and the writer of number 113, and Naugus Games, which is one of the super specials, all of them are famous for having infamously terrible art, and either unoriginal or straight up, lifted from Sad AM stories. People speculate that this is actually the editor, Justin Gabri, just trying to fill page space because they had nothing else.
So it's a bit of an Alan Smithy situation.
Yeah, and if we're saying that this is all rushed, that would make sense, because
Yeah.
we have the first story, Zone Wars, is probably, what they wanted to be the main story of the special, because all of the
Right.
multiverse shit is stuck in the specials for the most part. But all three of the other stories they could be slotted anywhere, So I'm guessing that this is an entire special of bank stories, plus one that they just had to scramble together.
Well, it's so weird because, yeah, I mean, I guess it's because I actually tried on the Sally Moon one, but it was so short.
It was
The
short.
main attraction is even only like half the story, and then Sonic shows up and starts retconning everything. So it's weird. The main attraction is so short.
Yeah, it's like if this had been a series of 4 stories about, either Sonic visiting alternate universes or just stuff happening in alternate universe, you could have done an evil Sonic story.
Right. That would have actually
Yeah.
been interesting. And instead, this special is just kind of felt meandery.
Yeah, it's not good. So yeah, bad special, but at least we can move on to something nice maybe with Sonic number 69. Nice. Juice Joint Jeopardy, guys.
Why do they keep cameoing Astal on these covers? Are they going to become an actual character at some point?
No. There also
Okay.
appears to be a sinister figure in the back there.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I actually don't know who that's specifically. It's probably meant to be Kodos, I want to say.
I'm assuming it's Kodos since
Yeah.
they in the last in issue 68 they alluded to Kodos being freed from Crystal, which we conveniently overlooked.
No, we said,
Yeah.
but it didn't
Did
have
we?
any consequence. Yeah.
We
Oh.
did. It did nothing with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I must
Well,
have zoned out for a second.
this is A Day in the Life, written by Ballers, drawn by Butler. The reunited freedom fighters take Nate on a tour of Mobotropolis, but are interrupted when Snively's villain squad attempts to kidnap him. So, Butler living up to his name, we start on a butt shot of Sally's mom in the tube, so they've brought Queen Alicia home here.
God damn it.
And I guess they're trying to figure out how to make her be not dead.
I feel like if the Brotherhood couldn't figure it out, what's the chances that our main heroes can figure it out?
Have you seen the Brotherhood? I'm actually surprised they even kept her alive. I am quite sure they were way too busy to even pay any attention to her.
Okay, I guess fair enough.
I fully believe that the Brotherhood potentially had the capacity to save her, they just didn't feel like it.
Just didn't feel like it. All right, fair enough.
So they do a little thing here, which is Baller's desperately trying to salvage some of Pender's writing, where he essentially reframes Max being a conniving, secretive dick as trying to protect Sally from the hardship of not getting her mom back in the event that Jeffrey's team failed, I think. Because he wasn't telling her all this shit that he was sending them on. But you could just feel the push and pull here. It's not great.
Yeah, the thing is, before he even decided to have them go out and look, he didn't say anything. He's like, "Oh, I didn't want you to know that you had a brother that died in the war." But I feel like having a brother you never knew, like learning that years later that they died, like I don't think she would like care that much. That seems like a pretty lame excuse.
Well, in fairness, she did spend years caring about Max, even though he is apparently like this, so maybe she would have.
But she knew.
Yeah, I know.
that.
Disorganized attachment. I'm being facetious.
Um,
But we do also learn that the king decides he wants Elias to take over the throne instead of Sally.
Yeah, so that's pretty predictable, honestly, and a pretty reasonable solution to the whole dumb conflict between the king and Sally. Yeah, makes sense to me.
It's a weird thing because it's like, on the one hand, you want to frame it as King Max is a dick. He's taking the far less accomplished child who doesn't have experience as a leader, and he's making them the king basically out of, I want to say, misogyny, pretty much. But on the other hand, I don't want Sally to be tied down playing Monarch. I want her to be a member of the team doing Action Girl stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason that I'm like, good, that works. Because it's pretty clear that she didn't really want it anyway.
The thing is, neither does Elias.
Yeah.
Well,
That's also
I don't
true.
know Elias well enough yet to
Yeah,
say
tough. So,
the best
yeah.
part of this, well, I guess that's actually next. So they talk, and then Sonic and Nate and everyone else are coming up, and then Sally sees Sonic again, and even though they met earlier, she's like, "Oh, I just realized you're back again. It's so great to." And King Max has a look of absolute disgust in his face as they hug.
Yeah, well, I like this panel where she says, "I'm so glad to see you," and she like falls on top of Sonic. But yeah, they're gonna take Nate on a Mobotropolis tour.
Sounds good to me.
They're okay. I gotta talk about this. There's this bit where they go to a juice bar, and Antoine uses the phrase au naturel, which the editor's blurb clarifies means in a natural state, which is true, but you almost exclusively hear au naturel used to refer to being, like, nude, and there's
Right.
some, furry girl with no clothes on dancing there, which is a normal thing for these comics to draw, but it's Butler drawing it, so it really does look like the first thing the Freedom Fighters did when Sonic got back was take him to a strip club.
Strip club. It does look like that.
Which is very funny, but it's like it's accidental, but it is really funny. Sonic, you're finally 16. You are a man now. Let's go.
God.
Okay, good job, guys. I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. There was a moment before they arrived there, actually, which is pretty adorable, honestly, where Sonic shares a chili dog with Nate, who everyone else has seen these things enough times to be completely fed up with them. But Nate is just, like, confused, and it's really neat to see Sonic be like, here, bud, have the best food in the world, as he sees it.
Yeah, Nate has lived a life of such torment that he has not known the pleasures of chili dog, and I agree, it is a good bit.
That is a good bit.
Yeah, no, he's had a hard time of it. He deserves to have a good time, which is, of course, why fucking this panda guy decides to be racist to him in the next panel. Actually, there's another bit here where Sonic tries to tell, or at least thinks of telling Antoine that he found his dad.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
He actually, the writers decided that was really stupid and fixed that bit. I think he does. He does. Tell him.
It's weird because they have Sonic trying to figure out how to tell him, and then they cut to somebody else watching him tell him without the dialogue being said.
Well, okay, I guess you're right. Maybe he didn't. It's kind of ambiguous. I guess we'll have to see.
Well, Bunny says,
For sure.
I wonder what could be happening with those two. It doesn't seem to be making Antoine happy. So I think he probably did tell him.
That was my assumption.
Yeah. Good group activity. Hey, Antoine. I know we're trying to have fun here, but
Yeah, I like the moment when Sonic comes in at first and he's like, "Yeah, let's have a good time." And he's like, "Hey, Tails, why did we ever leave?" And he's like, "To stop Nixus Naugus from wiping out all of reality, Sonic." And he's like, "Oh yeah."
I forgot. Oh, and also because you were disillusioned with domestic life, Sonic. But,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that bit.
maybe he just didn't party enough after they beat Robotnik. That's the solution. But yeah, Panda Guy is racist. They call him out, but that's not really what's important because the Goon Squad shows up.
Oh yeah, this moment is pretty great because it's not often in these comics, I think, where you get a moment where the heroes kind of get bamboozled and the villains pull a fast one on them, and it feels kind of triumphant, like Snively planned it out and it actually paid off. They yoink Nate away.
Yeah, and beat up the heroes in the process. It looks like Fang just straight up whacks Sally in the back of the head with a fucking mallet. You could kill a person doing that.
There are lots of moments
Yeah.
where people die in these comics and they don't.
Yeah, but a 9-10, in fact, person villain team. 9 of them here, but because we've got Kodos Arachnus, the Fearsome Foursome, Drago, Sleuth, and Neck. So a lot of dudes. And yeah, they do get away with Nate, and they just they all just sort of run away after that. Sonic catches Sally, but then they toss a grenade in there. It's about to explode, and Sonic just gives us a thumbs up for the cliffhanger.
Well, that's very Sonic-like. I've got so much time to run away from this. I can give a thumbs up and then run away and still be fine. That's what he's thinking.
Thumbs up for nobody. Yeah, I kind of like this story. I guess it's, kind of a part 1 of 2, but they're progressing things in a reasonable manner.
Yeah. I like, last issue was not the special. Last proper issue was kind of a lot of exposition, and then this one is kind of more half and half.
Yeah, it feels a little bit better. But duality as it is, we still have the Penders story, so it is weathering the storm, Penders and Maxwell as usual. Lupe and the wolves take refuge from a storm, and consider the responsibilities that come with caring for their newly adopted youths. And it's at this point where we see the personality that Penders decided to come up with for Lupe, which is Mom. She is Mom.
Yeah, she is Mom.
Yep.
I guess that's fine.
That's about it, though, with her personality.
She feels responsible for these kids because reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just kids that need help. They do a little bit of characterization with Diablo, I guess, because there's this moment where he's like teaching. I don't remember which kid that is.
The one that
the
can
one that can talk. Yeah. About like, oh, you should always return a favor. So I guess that shows a little bit about sort of his beliefs. I don't know. I'm a little grasping at straws here.
I don't know if this guy ever appears again, I'm going to be honest.
They thought it was important enough to have a bit, so I'm going to note it, even if it's not.
Yeah. Well, at least the first half of the issue is good. It's like the story is moving, and it is kind of funny that the first thing we do when we get home is rushing away from home to save a kidnapping victim. But I suppose that's how you gotta do it. Into Sonic number 70 here, facing the fury of Kodos. Facing the confusion of some, again, rigorously detailed art, but it's still a little hard to see.
Honestly, this cover is pretty awesome.
No, I quite like it, actually. It's easier to see than some of them, but you have to pick and choose which details you're looking at.
I think it works a little better in a stormy night setting, because that makes sense. It would be a little hard to see.
Yeah, it's the rain that does it. Yeah, Sonic with Elias, so that's cool. So our story here is Saving Nate Morgan, complete with the fucking Saving Private Ryan logo. Because those two things are very closely related. Ballers and Butler. When King Max decides the Freedom Fighters are no longer needed for missions, Sonic stows away on one of Jeffrey's. The team manages to find Nate Morgan, but some of Snively's gang are there to meet them. So we start on that grenade exploding, and I guess they just threw it out the window. It's exploding overhead, but
For some reason, the panda and whoever runs the bar, I guess, decide to blame the victim and say that it's Nate's fault for coming here and getting kidnapped, that their place is ruined.
I have no... from a story perspective, I have no problem with them doing that. I just wish somebody had kicked them in the head on the way out. So, they're all ready. They're all set to head out and rescue Nate, but the king says, no, now is the boring adults' time to shine, kids.
Yeah, so I could understand if any of them had more experience than, let's be honest, a kind of botched mission to save Sally's brother. But
yeah.
Since they're technically supposed to be like special forces, but Jeffrey has the most experience out of all of them, and even he's proven himself to be mostly useless.
He hasn't been great. And yeah, the others is like, I don't know how old, like, Stu or Valdez is. I know Hershey is at least an adult, but the three of them did nothing in that Knuckles story. So it's like...
Wombat Stu literally a kid?
Maybe?
Probably.
I don't know.
I thought he was. Huh.
I mean,
It's hard
probably.
to discern people's age in these comics.
That's true.
But we are at least, supposed to think that Max is in the wrong here, and importantly, we think that he's in the wrong, and Sonic rebels. Because we have this big protracted sequence of Jeffrey's squad, sneakily climbing up the island and being like, all right, we gotta be stealthy, we gotta be careful, and then Sonic's just right there. which is exactly the energy I want from his character. So good on
Oh
you, Carl.
yes, that is perfectly in character for Sonic. I love it.
Well, they're venturing into this uh, place. It's West Robotropolis, which I guess is different than the other Robotropolis. Um, but they're venturing through there, and of course, Jeff Lurie and Sonic get into a big stupid fight.
Well, actually, it'd been so long, it kind of caught me by surprise this time.
Well, and frankly, it's kind of funny because previously the person who would break up their fights would normally be Sally, and then at this point, Jeffrey's like, oh, I'm the one in charge. And then one of his soldiers takes off his helmet to reveal it's Elias. He's the one breaking up the fight.
Cannot escape from the acorns breaking up their fight.
Which I actually think that's cool. We were talking about how Elias is
shit.
not a dick, and he's not passive here, so he's taken a role.
Yeah, this moment gives me hope. See, when Penders introduced Elias, I'm like, oh shoot, he's gonna be the perfect little boy successor for King Max, but it doesn't quite seem like it actually.
Mm.
Well, and this is the strong thing. We've had plenty of critiques for Ballers, but he wrote more Elias stories than Penders did, and he seemed to have a vision of the character that he would stick to. So I'm glad for that.
After this, we switch back to the villains, where there's this pretty great moment where Kodos is interrogating Nate, and he's terrible at it, and he's like, "Okay, you're lost," and he's gonna chop off his head, and then acts like, "That's funny."
Yeah. Good interrogation tactics. This guy was supposed to be like a conniving schemer who helped start a war, but he's just he's just a berserker here, I guess.
So no, this is consistent. The way I've seen Kodos so far, he always seemed like he was just the muscle. And he, like, Naugus used him to further his own goals that he already held. And, Kodos was more than happy to go along with it.
I guess just since I was thinking he was considered Robotnik's mentor, so I guess Robotnik didn't do a very good job, so maybe he was his mentor. Well, in any case, they get interrupted by Bomb, who shows up and fails.
Whoops.
A bit of a dud there.
Yeah, well, it's like he fizzles, but we get... I don't even know how to segue into this. Everybody rushes in to fight, right? The satellite turns on, it activates, and it sends down a giant techno squid?
I would like to add that the figure in the satellite is drinking Robo-Cola.
Gee, I wonder who it might be.
Yeah. But
This
yes,
squid
that is in
appears
fact
for
what
one
happened.
panel.
They just decided, big old sea monster, that's how we're gonna end this.
Well, and it does have a bit of a Chekhov's gun moment in that the squid appears and they have no idea what to do and they're all gonna die. It's so terrible, it's so terrifying. But since Bomb didn't go off earlier, now he can go off and destroy the squid.
So we skip past it, and right, that's fine because it is a background moment. But I love that amongst the chaos, Hershey is going right for Drago, and he's like, "Watch the face."
Oh yeah. This became a running gag where it starts with Hershey because, frankly, she deserves to get the blow on him. But
Yeah.
there would eventually be a running gag that every time Drago appeared, somebody would punch him in the face.
Huh.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, so they blow up the squid. They take some of the Snively gang into custody. It looks like Drago, Simeon, the frog guy, but I can see the hawk guy and Arachnus and probably Kodos got away.
On Sonic's plane, no less.
Yeah, they stole Sonic's plane, those bastards.
Yeah, damn. Now he has to go back with Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
dear. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I expected more. I mean, I know this isn't really over, and it's still gonna get good, but like this was Like for an initial shot, this was not very great for the villains. They kind of just came and beat everyone up, and I mean I guess the satellite really didn't help, did it?
No, I mean, I think the squid thing would work fine if they had just fought it for more than one panel. Just have it be
Yeah,
an event that, they all have to fight against. Maybe even the villains are stuck fighting against it, since it's obviously not treating them like it's on their side.
that's true.
Yeah,
But,
you can always have a lot of big monsters that only do something for like one frame, or yeah, one page.
yeah, maybe it's just these stories. These stories keep having to share page space. I feel like if it just had room to breathe, it would feel better.
Well, and
Yeah.
think about what we're about to get to. Like, was it really that necessary?
Yes, the other story
Uh,
here is really weird. It is Statute of Limitations, drawn by Chris Allen, making his first appearance on the comics, who I kind of like sometimes, not all the time, and written by Paul Castaglia, who I don't think has written anything up to this point, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't
But
think you mentioned the name.
this is a dream story. Not one of I guess in the realm of dream stories, it's one of the better ones, but it's a weird one where Sonic has a recurring nightmare about the actions he was forced to take in Sandblast City.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that he like doomed an entire city of people.
Well, we don't see exactly what happened to them, but yeah, that's essentially what's implied here. And he falls into the statue of himself, which has a giant gaping mouth,
Imagery
and
is very strange here.
Yeah.
yeah, he wakes up somewhere home. I don't know. Um,
It's a place where everything is Sonic.
yeah, where everybody loves Sonic, and he opens the door of the Sonic Adventure Archivists, and he opens the door, and there's three guys in here that are, I think, a joke on Sonic fans because they constantly argue over Sonic's stories. Like they're like, "Oh, why aren't Sonic and Sally together yet? Why, wh- why is Sally alive? She shouldn't have been doing that."
They
Uh,
have the gall to put that in the comic. The thought that Sally should have died. What?
it's really weird, and it's funny because the walrus guy says we constantly review them to make sure there's nothing we missed. They can get pretty deep. So these guys are us. It's the three of us.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
The question is which is which.
Damn it, I wanted to say that.
Well, the problem is like okay, the bearded guy is probably Bruce because he's the only one of us three with a beard.
Uh-huh.
But the walrus and horse guy, both me and Lauren would want to be the walrus guy because the horse guy is the one who says Sally should have stayed dead, and neither me or Lauren wants to be that guy.
Man, I don't know if I want to be the bearded guy because he seems to want Sonic and Sally to be together, and I don't.
Well, they they do all say, but we do agree on one thing: you're our hero, no matter what. We love you. You can do no wrong, and that's a thing that none of us believe.
That's true.
Yeah, the analogy falls apart a little bit, doesn't it?
Ha. But that's okay. Sonic wakes up and Tails like, dude, you shouldn't have dropped all that acid last night. And Sonic's like, I know. And that's the end. Yeah, I would have sacrificed this to make the primary story better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they. Well, it's weird because they had like, the Wolf Pack as backup stories for a little while, and then they replaced it with this for some reason. Are they? They're not even done with the Wolf Pack, are they? They
I
just
don't
took a
even
break?
remember that this is such an uninteresting storyline with them that I have no idea. But yeah, that's the end of the comics for the week. There are a lot of good things this week, but there was no one singular great thing, I think is a bit of the issue. I'm happy to have things be more consistent, but
Yeah, very. All right. Yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah.
well, next week we are going back to Knuckles and holy shit, you guys. I'm not going to spoil it for any of our fans who are not actively aware of these comics, but oh my god. But for tonight, that is going to be it. We don't have to rank any comics tonight, which I'm happy about, because as weird as it sounds, having the little dings flash on screen for each time we give them points is enough effort, and I screw up at it fast enough that it's, like, annoying, so I'm glad we're not doing that tonight.
We should have kept ranking the super specials, though, in my opinion.
Well, we were going to do that after we read them, because we can't remember which one is which.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Although I'll say this, Zone Wars definitely isn't one of the better ones.
No, he is not.
Not on average.
Well, for all of our fans watching out there, thank you for being with us here tonight. You can see all of the places that you can contact us on screen right now or in the description down below. If you like this video, be sure to share, comment, subscribe, etc. And I thank you guys so much for watching, and we are going to see you next week for bad things. Bad things are going to happen. It's going to be hilarious and terrible. Have a great night, and take care.